have a confession to make. I can't stand tie-in fiction. Whether it's gaming novels, tying into tabletop RPG settings, whether it's Star Trek novels, Star Wars novels, even though some of those are apparently pretty good, all things considered, I don't get on with these kind of books. It doesn't work for me. Don't like them. Never liked them. And they're part of what killed off TSR, along with Dragon Dice. So, while bad B-movies and bad, cheap, pulp, mass-produced novels can make for really, really good inspiration for adventures, in that for some reason, somehow, there's some sort of alchemy that if you take a bad book or two, mash them together, file off the serial numbers and turn them into an adventure, that works. I don't feel that it really works that well in reverse. There are exceptions, Record of Lodos War and so on, for example, where you take a game and you turn it into media. So Dragonlance doesn't mean that much to me. I think I tried to read one novel when I was younger, didn't rate it very much, and never returned to the well. Plus they're kind of responsible for Dragonborn, I suppose. So there's that to consider. But it is interesting to see what is happening with Wizards of the Coast and the creators of Dragonlance, Weiss and Hickman, who had been contracted to provide a new trilogy of novels. This would presumably also accompany a relaunch of the setting. A TV series idea has been bandied about for some time, so this would all seem to sort of come together. And apparently they've been working on at least the first of the new series of books since about 2017, under contract to Wizards. And yet we discover in the last couple of days that now Wizards is being taken to court by Weiss and Hickman for essentially constructively causing the contract to come to an end and to not continue on with it. And reading the text of the filing, it seems that this is somewhat due to a problem with wokeness, woke scolds, giving Wizards a really hard time, and to do with poor conduct by someone who was in charge of the fiction and that sort of line of development. Quite what that has to do with Weiss and Hickman, I don't know. But rather than break out of the contract in the ways that the contract might lay out, they're trying to weasel out of it by withholding approval. At each step of the way, the text and so on was supposed to be approved, and then the process could continue. So they're breaking the contract, but they're doing it, so it would seem, by just refusing to undergo the process any longer. No matter what is done to the drafts and so on, they're not going to approve them. Now, I'm not sure whether this is legal in the US. My experience in the UK is that such a sort of constructive weaseling out of a contract would not be considered legal. It would not be considered reasonable. Friends in publishing in Canada seem to agree that under the Canadian legal system this would not be legal. The US tends to be a bit more against the creator in these kinds of things. It tends to be more on the side of the business and the boss and the person you're contracted to, rather than you as the contractee. But it remains to be seen how this is all going to actually play out. Now, I have no particular skin in the game, but as a creator, this seems like a bad move if this lawsuit fails, and this could, along with other legal challenges that are in the works or being made against Wizards of the Coast, this could well cause Hasbro to get cold feet. Perhaps the property will end up being sold off if it proves to cost more than it makes, and so on. And all of this despite the big success of D&D in particular recently. There are plenty of people who would love to buy Dragonlance, but it is an older, though not quite old school, setting for D&D. Maybe that's where the problem lies. Maybe people now think that the Kenda are sort of caricatures of Jews or gypsies or something. Maybe it's too white. Maybe it's too Western. Maybe there's material in these books that, as I say, I haven't read, that they find too unwoke to allow for. Maybe they think it's tempting fate. Maybe the fact that one of the authors is a Mormon has them worried, given the historical racism of Mormonism and the anti-LGBT nature of a lot of Mormonism. Maybe that's what it is. It's hard to really pin down at this stage. Hopefully more documents, more records will become available and the mist will lift. I'm not personally convinced that this is a case of get woke, go broke. There may be other reasons. Creative people can be difficult to deal with, I should know. I am one, and I are other ones. But it does certainly look, from the filing, as if this is what the problem is. The Wizards is running scared of criticism and hostility and knee-jerk reacting to all that hostility and upset that has been slow rolling on for quite some time, despite Wizards making rather strenuous efforts to court the woke scold audience, shall we say. So we don't really know what's going on. The filing certainly seems to play into the pre-existing fault lines across many gaming fandoms and other genre media fandoms. But this brings me to another point, in that I'm incredibly, how to put it, disappointed in a lot of people's hypocrisy. That if you're fighting for people's right to free expression, it has to be in general for everybody. It's not a matter of sides, it's not a matter of tribe, and you're a hypocrite if you accept or celebrate censorship or moralizing or whatever, so long as it's coming from your team, and only decry and denounce it when it's coming from the other team. And unfortunately I see a lot of that tribalism in the commentary community on this sort of thing, and in Facebook groups and forums and other places. People don't seem to have a consistent set of beliefs, and so they're constantly and consistently being caught up in hypocrisy. And because of my anti-censorship stance, because of my libertine stance, I suppose you could say, and my defense of people's free expression, even when they're people I don't agree with, for the most part, up until the point that they cause harm, because of that I've been invited into a lot of these somewhat private groups, and of late I just see them becoming exactly the mirror image of everything that they claim to hate. In one of these groups, for example, they decided to attack Satine Phoenix. Now, whether you see her as a symptom or a cause of woke D&D, I think you're wrong. But attacking her because she used to do porn, or characterizing her as a failed porn star, or any of these other nasty, morally judgmental things, go against the principle that you're supposedly trying to put forward, that gaming should be open, it should be non-judgmental, that anybody should be able to publish or play anything in any way that they want. And if you're resisting the moralizing from this modern pseudo-left successors to the old new left, that's a weird sentence, but if you're protesting against that and then you engage in moral judgment and social censure, then you're no better than the people that you're criticizing. And don't act surprised when I turn on you and point out how utterly disgusting and hypocritical you're being. Free speech, free expression, these kinds of rights, they're for everybody or they're for nobody, and tribe should have fuck all to do with it.